All right, what is up, Facebook and Zoom? Hopefully, everything's all working on there. Uh, Thank you for having me back. It's been about a week since I've been on. We had our first two lessons from Scrap Life. They're sponsoring the month of May, so we want to thank them very much. Eric Siebert, NCAA champ from Illinois, yesterday, and Anthony Ashnell, NCAA champion from Rutgers on Tuesday. Just got off the phone with the Scrap Life guys, and we've got NCAA champion Jason Knopf on Tuesday, and NCAA runner-up Joey McKenna on Thursday. So Jason Knopf on Tuesday, Joey McKenna on Thursday. Be excited. I'm excited. Can't wait to see what those guys are showing. Today, I will be going over 2-on-1s and Russian ties. Hopefully you guys like what I'm showing today. Just want to remind, please, everyone, if you're watching, if you're checking in, I very much appreciate you and your time. If you appreciate me and my time, feel free, send donations. PayPal at the top, paypal.me/BakerFC, Venmo at Louis Bakes. Any questions, feel free to send me Facebook messages. Or if you need my phone number, be happy to give that to you. But so let's get started today. We've got a beautiful rainy Friday in Pennsylvania. Hope you guys are ready to get a good workout in this afternoon. I'm ready to show some good stuff. So let's see. There we go. Brandy, hopefully that helped. I think that should have got you in. What's up, Carson? How are you, man? There we go. Got a couple of people logging in. There we go. Cool. All right. So let's get started with our warm-up. Gonna do some jumping jacks. And let's see. I like that. And make this bigger. There we go. And there we go. Cool. All right. So getting started, let's get some jumping jacks. Get 20 of these in. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Let's get some burpee mountain climbers in. All right, so we're going to do 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So next, get some gymnastics. Warm up our bodies. All right, getting ready for some wrestling. There we go. Good. Forward roll. Back roll. Cartwheel. Shoulder roll. Head bump. Good. Push-ups. 10 of them. And go. Good. 10 sit-ups. Good. All right, so I always like to start with stance and motion. All right, I'm going to make sure got everything all set up here with the Facebook page so that you guys have questions, you can see them. And get my timer set up. Good. All right. With stance and motion. Okay, so let's get some stance and motion. Remember our 7 basic skills: stance and motion, level change, penetration, body arch, lift, and back step. All right, good wrestling position. Butt down, back straight, chin up, elbows in, and we're moving our feet. All right, just getting warmed up here, getting our arms warmed up, getting our bodies warmed up, practicing our first couple of basic skills: stance, motion, level change, watching my feet, my footwork. I'm setting my feet up every time I move. When I move to my left, I step left and then right, and then I'm right into a shooting position. When I move right, I step right into a shooting position, break. First one. Let's get ready for number 2. Oh, number 2. All right. So, number 2, back in your stance and go. Good. Moving around. Stance, motion, level change, and penetration. Remember, big step. Hips come forward. All right. Big step. Hips come forward as you penetrate. Good. Don't forget our down blocks. Okay. We want to make sure same hand, same leg move. Our head comes down to defend the other side. All right. Same hand, same leg. Head comes down to defend the other side. When we sprawl, our legs go straight. Okay, we circle up right into our stance. Good, keep moving, guys and girls. Level changes, moving your feet, break. 2 out of 4. Now, I want you to start throwing more lateral movement, okay? Changing your levels, not only up and down, but changing your level horizontally as well, so your opponent doesn't see where your attacks are coming from. So I'm in my stance. Yes, I can move up and down, but I can also move my shoulders side to side so that I can get my opponent to reach differently, change my body so that my shots come differently here. Okay, so put all of this motion together as you're moving your hands. Remember, backhand, okay, home hand stays home. Backhand, check your level, check your distance. Good. Keep your feet moving. Level change, penetrate, sprawl. Good, down block. Level change, penetrate, down block, penetrate. Good. All right, so now that our bodies are a little warm, I want to start getting into some of this technique. So today, got my buddy Alan helping us out. So we're going to talk about 2 different things. They're the same concept. So what we're talking about here is controlled ties. So you've got your open tie-ups, which is when there's space, you and your opponent aren't touching each other. You've got your hand fighting and your normal tie-ups, which are when you and your opponent are engaged. Both wrestlers are looking for an advantage. And then you've got your controlled ties, which are an advantage for one person clearly. So underhooks, a couple of different ways that I can get there. The more simple, the better. Okay, so understanding position. So Jaden Cox talked about this a little bit. He talked about reverse scrambling. And so understanding what positions I'm giving up to my opponent. So when I club and move his head this way, as he brings his head back, that's the space that I need for my underhook. Okay? Now, when I get my underhooks, a lot of you are taught to grab this shoulder. Grab this shoulder up over the top. All right? You look like one of those truckers. You tell them to pull the horn as you're driving by. All right? But what we want to do is we want to turn our underhook and lock it in. All right? We want our hand going across his back like we want to take him to the dance with us. All right? So with my hand going across his back, this is going to accomplish the goal of the underhook, which is to get his elbow as high as possible. Okay? So when I've got my underhook, I want to keep his elbow high. If I turn my hand under, Alan can bring his elbow down, and now he's got control with an overtie. I don't have control with an underhook. So when I turn it out to the outside, this allows me to keep his elbow down. All right? As he tries to pull his elbow down, I can create resistance a lot easier. He ends up fighting against my shoulder and my arm and my back, all right, as opposed to just fighting against the small muscles of my shoulder, all right? Another little tip here is when I get to my underhook, the palm of my hand is going right on the back part of his ribs, okay? What this does is this gives me somewhere to push from if he starts to get a lot of pressure with his overhook, all right? This gives me a place to provide some stability, okay? Now, first couple of things that we're going to do with our underhook is we want to get attacks to both sides. So 2 simple attacks right here. Get to our underhook. I've got head position, okay? So right here, I've got head position on the same side as my underhook. Alan has head position on my underhook side. I've got head position on my underhook side. The first thing I'm going to do is pull and slide step. So I'm going to pull, all right, and then slide step. Watch my feet. I'm going to kick my feet like Dorothy, together and behind, all right? So right here, kick my feet together and behind. And all I want to do is step the inside of my foot right behind Alan's heel, and I'm going to take a squat right here. Head stays up into his chest. Back arm, my underhook arm just drops right down next to my leg. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my head to push his body over top of this leg. There. Coming up. I like to go right to my crackdown, kick the foot away, score my takedown. So, once again, get into my underhook. Club, underhook, pull, all right? Kick my feet together and step. Now, once I step, I've got to squat low, and this back hand is going to drop, okay? Squat nice and low. He couldn't move this leg if he wanted to. It's track. Now my head does the pushing, all right? And everything comes up tight to my armpit. Now, that's if I keep head position and I want to attack the same side. If I've got head position and I want to attack the other side, I'm going to have to change levels quickly and put all the weight on his other foot, okay? So this is how we go low ankle on the other side. When this guy takes head position, all right, we've got other options. But right here, we've got 2 options. We've got our mid-level option, which is our inside leg knee pick, all right? Or you're wrestling an opponent who's keeping nice and low position, okay? Right here, I can't quite step deep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate Alan's foot out. I'm going to drop really low, and then I'm pushing with the palm of my hand, everything across. All right, I want to sit him to his butt. So right here, as I lower my level nice and low and drive, I'm pushing with this hand. Push. Okay? Now right here, I've got to close the distance, forehead through his chest. Forehead through his chest, grab leg, elevate. Okay? Grab leg, elevate, table. So, 2 quick attacks, remember. I can step behind, lower my level and step across, or when I've got this head position, if this guy's just going to manage right here with me, I take big inside step, knee pick. That means grab the knee, punch the hand. There goes my takedown. All right? So we've got 3 really good attacks off of an underhook and head position. We attack the same side once, attack the far side twice, and here's our second attack. So you get 4 attacks out of this. Here's our last attack on the same side. So I get to my underhook. My opponent's trying to get his hips away from me, all right, but I can still keep head position. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw this arm by. And when we do that, we're going to have to turn our hips all the way in. We're going to go hip to hip on the inside. So Alan's trying to pull away from me, all right? He's trying to extend this arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step and turn and throw. So right here when I throw, my arm's going to go completely straight. And here's the pro tip on this. I'm going to turn my hand as I throw. All right, when I turn my hand as I throw, like I'm going for a swim stroke, and I want to knife into the water, when I turn my hand, that turns my opponent's shoulders. Okay? So right here, Alan starts pulling away from me. I turn my body and swing hard right here. Now, see how we end up hip to hip? Okay? This was the hand I threw. My opposite hand is going to be reaching tight between his legs. All right? So here, I'm chasing. All right? So what this looks like when I hit it at match speed is there. All right? And because that hand dropped low, I'm able to catch this leg. It's on the same side I'm attacking. Here. This leg here. All right? Catching this leg. This is all about setting your position. All right? This is that reverse scrambling. I know where the leg's going to be when I throw. So I catch it. All right? So 4 good attacks off of an underhook with the same side head position. Just remember, you get there, start cycling through these moves. All right? Which one's going to work? Because if he's leaving you with head position, one of them's going to work. He steps out. I go to step back. He steps back. I throw bottom. All right? That's how we piece these together. Now, my opponent takes head position away. All right? So I've got an underhook, but he takes head position. This is not as good position for me. All right, I've still got lots of options here, though, especially if I keep this underhook going straight across his back. If he takes away head position from me and my underhook starts to go, now he's got overhook elbow control, and I've got nothing. So when this happens, okay, when he starts to pull tight here and create head position, you've got to move this head position however you can. All right? And then your goal is to get this elbow back up, his elbow back up. All right? So here are our attacks off of this. Our opponent takes head position. What we want to do is we're going to square our feet to our opponent's feet. So what that looks like, watch our feet on this. So right here, my feet are facing the camera. Alan's are facing away. All right? I'm going to square my feet to his feet and then lower my level. So what that looks like is when he's taking this head position, I'm going to square and lower. All right? You should feel something pulling you forward, and your opponent should feel like they're going over top of your head. All right? What this does is I set my feet. All right, my opponent's still trying to get control of this underhook, and when I lower my level, everything he's pulling on disappears. Okay? And look, I lower my level, not my butt to the mat, not my heels on the mat. I lower to my toes. All right? My heels, the more I keep my heels off the mat, the more I'm on my tippy toes, the quicker I am. So when I'm here, and I set my feet and lower my level, I'm on my toes so that I can explode forward. All right, and we're going to go double right off of this. My opponent takes my head position. That's fine. I'm going to square and double. Square and double. Right here, running through it. All right? Steer with your head or big steps and lift, depending on what style it is. If you're going freestyle, look for the fourth. Okay? Now, he takes head position, but I can't square my feet because he's circling into the underhook side. He's circling into it, so I can't square up. Okay? So as we do this, what we're going to do is we're going to pull with our underhook, and we're going to pull his head down. So right here, pull with our underhook and pull the head down. Now, here's a cheap takedown off of this, all right? So what we can do here is once we get his head down, we're going to go really hard into putting his hands on the mat. But as our opponent goes to pull his weight back towards his hips, we're going to take our chance and shoot our shot here with our feet. All right, so I pull his head down. I pull down here. And as I go to put his hands on the mat, he stays up. I'm going to step right on the outside, and I'm going to drive everything right to that back heel. All right, so right here, I pulled the head down. He starts to go backwards towards the camera right there. I'm going to step, and my level stays low, and then everything pushes him. My arms and everything are going to push him back. All right? So he took our head position. We tried to square up and double. We couldn't. He circled with us. We pulled the head down. He goes to step back. You want to step behind the foot and push and extend. Okay? Now, if we don't get that, then we're going to our third option here. Okay? So I pulled the head down. He's going back. I got to step back. I can't quite get it. Now everything's going to go to the mat. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn our shoulder on the side of the edge and underhook, and we're basically going to down block on that side as we pull. So pull and down block. All right? Once we go here, this hand is going to meet this hand. All right? And I like to cross my hands here when I do this. So right here, my hands are crossed so that I can come up to this armpit and keep this head in. All right? So I'm up in this armpit, and what I do is extend the arm up, work my way around. So off of this underhook snap, okay? This is a short snap because I'm only getting his head underneath of my chin. All right? If it was a hard snap, I'd be trying to snap all the way down to the mat right away. So we're going to go short snap. The short snap doesn't work, and we're going to go hard pull. All right? Short snap, tried to step, couldn't get it. Now we go hard pull, but we hard pull with our underhook side, and we're going to down block hard pull. Right there. This foot comes up so that our hands can switch. All right? Right here, pull, foot goes up, hand switch, spinning around, collecting my takedown. So we get to our underhook, and our opponent starts taking things away from us. All right, with their head position, with their body position, we attack whatever we can get our hands on because we've got a controlled top. So if this guy's backing his hips away, the only thing we have left is a shoulder and a head. So we need to make sure we control that as we're trying to keep control of our top. So 7 techniques. Let's run through those real quick. Get those down in your notebook. And then we'll transition to 2-on-1. So we have our underhook. Offense. So it's split into two ways. Head position. No head position. And we've got 4 taps, all right? 2 to each leg. So when you have head position, got your step behind, head steer, snatch, single. On the same side, this is same side. On the same side as well. Your opponent pressures backwards. Pressures backwards. We throw by. Turn your hand. Don't forget to turn your hand. Free hand. Which is really just your outside. Catches at thigh. Just swipe up for me. Yeah. Now, again, on the far side, we've got inside step knee pick. The reason I say inside step, you do not want to step with your outside foot. It will throw off your balance. All right? And on the far side, we've got our low ankle attack. Which is hard pull, level change, drive chest up. Okay. Now with no head position, we've got our square feet double. Just remember, you want your toes pointing at his toes. Okay? Now we've got short pull or short snap. Heel hook. All right? So you go short snap, and you want to hook heel to heel as you step behind, drive. Then we've got short snap. You've got your hard pull. That's on the head and underhook. Spin behind. So, let me get this closer so that you guys can see. All right, that's fine. This is what we just went over last couple of minutes. Now we're going to transition into some 2-on-1 offense, which you'll see some similarities since they're both control ties that involve controlling one of my opponent's arms. All right, so now, couple of basics on my 2-on-1. when I grab my 2-on-1, there are a couple of different ways. So I can grab it with 2 supinated hands, okay? I can grab it with 1 supinated, 1 pronated, okay? Supinated, like you're holding soup, pronated, okay? Supinated, pronated, supinated, supinated. Now, the goal for this is to control the whole arm. So that happens in one of 2 ways. Either the arm's completely straight and I'm able to move his body with it, okay? Or the arm's completely bent and now I'm able to move his shoulder and body with this bent arm, okay? So I want you guys to understand that if you're just holding it and it's halfway bent and it's in between your body and your opponent's body, that this isn't as controlled of a tie as you need. All right, so the position that I want to get to, remember, position is one of our 3 tenets of wrestling: position, technique, and strength. Okay, the position on this is I want to get his elbow right on the bottom of this Illinois sign. Okay, so right here, this is right in the center of my chest. This is where I want his elbow to go. So his elbow is going to go right on the bottom of the Illinois sign so that I can extend and put weight with my chest. See how Alan bends over when my chest comes forward? Okay? Now the same thing happens if this arm is bent. Even if when the elbow is in the center of my chest, I can create pressure, all right? I can create pressure with my chest by bending over, by turning this way. All right, I control his body and his arm. So first things first, once we get to our Russian, we've got to decide whether we're going to be attacking the legs, all right, same side, or whether we're going to be using the arm to attack the arm, upper body stuff. All right, so when we're attacking the legs, we've got to make sure we're moving the arms and our opponent's head out of the way as we're looking to attack, okay? So right here, all right, simplest attack is going to be a quick drag, all right? So I've got my high hand and I've got my low hand and I've got some pressure here with my chest. So all I'm going to do is my low hand's going to go over top of my high hand, okay? Like I'm hugging his arm at the very top. And all I'm going to do is slide my shoulder underneath Alan's. And then I'm just going to chase this knee. Okay, chase, chase, chase. Get to my single. Look to finish. So Alan comes and collar ties me, right? I go to my 2-on-1. I'm pulling it off, starting to get it into position. Soon as I can get to here, all right? My low hand reaches over top of my high hand, and my shoulder slides underneath. And then all I'm doing is chasing this knee nice and low. Chase, chase, chase. Get to the leg and elevate. So this little quick drag comes immediately off of getting my 2-on-1. 2-on-1, quick drag, right to a shot. Now, as you pull your 2-on-1, your opponent's got lots of options. They can attack your hands, right? They can make things difficult. They can take head position so that you can't just attack on the same side, which is fine. So what we're going to do, the first one we had head position. Let's say our opponent gets head position pretty quickly. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to shovel some snow. Now, I'm an official, and so it is illegal to step on this guy's toe intentionally to get a takedown. But if you accidentally step on his foot and put his hand down on the mat, okay, here and there, hand goes down to the mat. Now I'm looking for shoulder position, all right? If you don't understand what that means, watch one of my earlier videos. My shoulder position can either go stinky shoulder or front side, okay? So I pulled off my 2-on-1. My opponent immediately took my head position away. So I accidentally stepped on his foot and shoveled some snow. All right, now I'm looking for my shoulder position. Me personally, I like to get my front side shoulder in so that I can get all the power behind my legs. All right, but feel free to go backside stinky shoulder off of this. All right, feel free to go backside, taking the legs to score your takedown. Okay? Either way is fine. Now, these come off of straight arm 2-on-1s. All right, our straight arm 2-on-1s. Got our quick drag. Now, our quick drag. Here's what happens if we want to go quick drag, but our opponent takes our head position. So when we go quick drag, we're going to reach to the far side of their body. So this is going to get a little complicated. This is some fun stuff, so pay attention. As I reach to the far side of his body, I'm going to step in with a bent leg and straighten it out, which is going to put all the weight on the opposite foot, and then I'm going to drive over that foot, okay? So what that means is, right here, Alan starts to take away the head position. When I go to drag, he keeps head position, okay? So I can't quite get around him. If he wanted to square up with me, he probably could. He could square up and I'd be chasing. So what we're going to do is this inside foot is going to step bent, all right? See how my toes on the mat, but my knee is bent? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten this leg out. See how that kicks his foot away? And now everything is going to drive diagonal over his back hip. Okay? So 2-on-1. My opponent immediately takes head position, but I had already started to go to my drag. Okay? So I can only get to the other side of his body. I can only just get right barely over his back. So I'm going to step and then straighten out my leg. Everything goes to the far hip. Okay? Here, little tip on getting to a 2-on-1 off of a collar tie. All right? When my opponent gets a collar tie, instead of trying to pull this off, all I'm going to do is shrug my shoulders to my ears and turn like I'm walking through a skinny door. All right? And then the hand comes to the wrist first. Okay? Everything else should slide into place. So, getting to my 2-on-1. Immediately, I wanted to go drag. Alan kept the head position. So I stepped deep, straightened out, pulled this high. All right, this is the hand that I hit my drag with. This is a great technique for guys who want to block and run their hips out, all right, as you're trying to take control of this Russian. Right here. Alan's trying to block with his head and drop his hips quickly. That's fine because when I come here, he's going to want to stay up and fight me, which is going to give me space for my foot to come in. And then when I straighten it out, it takes his hips out. Okay? His hips up on my hip. This hand's reaching high. Look, he's got one foot on the mat, one hand on the mat, on the same side. I'm controlling everything on the opposite side. I can lift him straight up from here. I've got full control of his body. All right, so that third attack can really be a fun one. You can add little extras into it where, let's say I go to step, trip, and then I'm going to hook on the outside. Now that's going to allow me to go. It's going to allow me to go in the. We went too far. Okay. So right here, if I step out and hook, all right, this is going to allow me to go to things like cradles and nice Turks out of that, all right? So you can play with the footwork there. All right, just remember I'm coming from the inside, and my leg has to be bent. I can't step and put my heel on the mat and then try and move his hips with my hips. It's a bent leg, straighten it out, which is going to move his hips quickly. That's what we want. All right, so now this is all out of a straight arm 2-on-1. It's got 3 really good attacks. Now, when our opponent either decides that they're going to bring their arm in to fight our hands, all right, so they're going to bring their arm in, they're going to bend it, or we're having a hard time keeping control of a straight 2-on-1, we can go to a bent arm 2-on-1. Some people call it a key lock. You can use a key lock, but it doesn't necessarily have to be one. Okay, so this bent arm 2-on-1. All right. I've got 2 supinated hands, and my top hand is going to pronate over top of my bottom wrist. All right. The one thing you cannot do, you cannot have 2 supinated hands and lock on your wrist. Okay. I cannot supinate on my own wrist. I can supinate and pronate because this doesn't put undue pressure on my opponent's forms. Legal, illegal. Okay? So, getting to this bent arm 2-on-1, I like to use this key lock because it gives me more control. All right? I can use his arm, and so I can move his elbow to the center of my chest, or I can let the elbow slide by me a little bit, which will also be beneficial. So, first things first, when I've got this bent arm 2-on-1, what I want to do is I want to try and put all of my weight through his shoulder. Okay? So me and Alan are wrestling here. He's trying to square up and wrestle me. All of my weight is going to go through his shoulder. So if you see right here, I'm going to take my lead leg and step back, which means all of the weight is now going to get carried through Alan's shoulder. That's where I'm leaning forward on. Okay? So when I do that, this is going to allow me to start to go to some attacks. If he lets me put his hands on the mat, then this is an easy spin behind. Okay? Right here. He lets me just put his hands on the mat. Then I put one down, change my shoulder position. All right? Most good wrestlers are going to be fighting you there as you try and do this, which is exactly what we want. So what we want is this guy, if he starts to reach for our other hands, all right, he starts attacking our lock. All right, this is where, because we've got this bent arm 2-on-1, we're closer. Now we can start attacking his ankles and his knees more efficiently. So as Alan goes to attack my hands, okay, even if I don't have head position, because I've got this bent arm, all I've got to do is shrug, okay? I shrug my shoulders and lower my level. Right here. Shrug my shoulders, lower my level. Same side, knee down, back leg stays up, head up, chest up. All right, now I'm in on a single. His reaction is going to tell me what I want to do. If I'm thinking about my reverse scrambling, when I drop in here, the one thing that I don't want him to do is I don't want him to step all the way around my body. So all I'm going to do is leave this hand up. I'm going to come here, and this hand's going to come up. So now Alan can't step this way. If he goes to step this way, go ahead. Then I've got both legs, and it's an easy takedown. So now with my hand kind of coming up, he's got to fade back the other way, which is going to allow me to drive up to my feet. You've got to be able to think a step ahead of your opponent here. This is that reverse scrambling. So you need to, if you think of it like this, we talk about our stance, we've got our home hand, all right? When you're at home, you're very unlikely to score. You have to leave the house to score. So that means that you must either open a door or a window. When you open a door or a window, someone else can come in. When I'm on my feet, if my opponent's got an underhook, okay, I've got to understand that they can attack this lead leg side. So when their level changes, that's the leg that gets moved because that's going to be the most likely way that they go. Same thing happens when I'm attacking. I've got my 2-on-1. All right. I go to put some pressure. Alan's holding me up, trying to defend. So I'm going to release right here. And then immediately what I do is I stop this motion from coming so that when it goes the other way, right here, when it steps back the other way, I can immediately start to elevate, which is exactly where I wanted to be. All right. So when we get here, all right, we get to this bent arm 2-on-1. Levels are down. I'm going to attack low. If Alan wants to stand up here and drive into me and fight, like let's say Alan wrestled Greco as well. Turn it in so he like chest to chest. Yeah. He's in here hand fighting with me. Now we get to really have some fun. So this is where our key lock throw comes from. All right? Key lock throw. This is very important. I don't think I've ever shown this on video, of course. And I preface this with older groups. All right? So when you key lock throw, you want to take your opponent's arm and put their fist under their chin. All right? So that their arm is straight here. And then what you're going to do when you throw is you're going to pull their head over their hips. Got my 2-on-1. I'm going to put Alan's fist under his chin. Now, my footwork. Both of my feet are to the outside of Alan's. And all I'm going to do is look back over my shoulder. Okay? I'm going to land on my left shoulder, which is the same shoulder that touches Alan. That shoulder touches Alan, and when I go, I land on my left shoulder. Right here, step. Head stays high, looking to finish across. Okay? Now, this technique comes, remember, my opponent's pressuring back in. Their chest is up. They want to fight me in this position. Drive in. All right, he's driving in. He's trying to attack the lock. All right, he wants to control my hands. I shove his fist to his chin, and my feet come to the outside. Both feet step, and I look away. Right here. Right here, he's already thrown. He doesn't know it yet. I just go to my shoulder. Okay? Keeping everything as tight to his body as possible. Now, I have to say this. When I throw, I cannot let this wrist come down so that it comes out. All right? I cannot throw from here. I must keep this inside of the body, okay? Inside of the body as I go. Even if I don't get it all the way up to his chin, right here, even if it's down low, I've still got to keep it inside of the body, all right? First of all, it's the only way that I can control the pressure, all right, because I'm shoving his wrist either up to his belly, but ideally I want to be shoving it up through his chin, which is going to make him taller and easier to throw. I can get my hips underneath, all right? And so also, when we hit techniques, we want to be a technical wrestler. We want to be able to hit our moves perfectly. And perfect technique doesn't involve hurting our opponents. And so when we hit this technique, the goal is not to hurt anyone. The goal is to expose their mistake, which is putting a lot of pressure into us when we've got a bent arm 2-on-1. All right. Of course, this technique works great in freestyle and Greco, especially Greco as guys go to pummel. You can really get their chest up and open, and then your footwork and your lock are really going to dictate how quickly you're able to transition into something like this. All right. So off of our bent arm, we can drop to a leg. All right. We can go to our key lock, or our last one. I'm going to show, we take it to our front headlock, but for freestyle and Greco, we can look to go kind of head pinch. For folk style, you can either go cement mixer, Pennsylvania favorite, or just snap go behind. So last technique that we've got out of this is this 2-on-1 bent arm. All right, my opponent's fighting my hands, looking to square up and be a good wrestler here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my head over top of theirs, So my cheek's going to slide to the back of his head so that it's over the top. And then my bottom hand releases. So my bottom hand's going to release, and this top hand is going to stay stiff. All right, like my doctor told me not to let my hand move. All right, so right here, Alan's doing a good job attacking my hands, trying to keep his head up. Just bend down a little more. I'm going to put my cheek on the top of his head, and then I'm going to release, and this is going to go to the top. Now my feet haven't moved yet, and that's important because I'm going to feed this hand to my other hand, and when I step, my elbows are going to pinch. And so my step is a big, exaggerated step. I step big over the top, just like I was trying to step over this, okay? So imagine right here, I got to my front headlock, and I've got to step over this and plant my foot, okay? When that happens, Alan's head ends up directly underneath my chest, okay? I've got this lock. If I just step and he keeps his head up, I don't get over the top, okay? So keep your head up. So right here. So when I take a big step, look, over the top of this, look, right here. I go all the way over the top. That pinches his head. When we talk freestyle Greco, we immediately are going into our back arch. Right here, big step. Back arch, throw. All right? So once again, we're trying to pull down and attack this side. Can't get there. He's attacking our hand. All right, especially our top hand. All right, our opponent attacks our top hand, which is what he's supposed to do. We immediately have got to get that hand fed something. So release the bottom, feed the top, and now cover the head with this big exaggerated step. Right here. Now, folk style. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pull really hard. All right, so right here, folk style. I'm going to pull really hard in. All right, what that's going to do, that should kind of shock him a little bit. Everything goes to the mat, and I spin hard. Goes to the mat. My feet are coming off. All right, so right here, chin on his head, reach, big step, pull. Already floating behind him. All right, I'm trying to float behind. So, thank you. That gives us a bunch of really good options with our underhook, with our Russian. Okay. So, to recap, all right. So to recap, all right. So, talking our 2-on-1. Two-on-one. Rush. We've got head position. Head position. Quick drag. Remember, bottom hand replaces top hand. Bottom hand replaces top hand. Shoulder position. This is head position and straight arm. So we've got our quick drag. Then after that, we went to the straight arm.
Yeah. We went back the straight arm drag, and then there was the step in between.
Yeah. So then we're gonna create some motion with our drag. All right, and we're gonna go inside step. Okay. Inside step. Remember, bent leg to straight leg. Drive across the opponent's body. Then we did bent arm. This pen's about out. Did our bent arm. So in our bent arm, we did remember with our bent arm, all right, we can put it on the mat, chase shoulder position. We can look to go key lock, or we can go over the top, big step pinch, looking to score out of that front headlock, whether freestyle and Greco, we're going over the top, looking for 4s and 5s. Folk style, looking to just get them to the mat, float our hips over the top and score. All right, so we went over about 12 different attacks off of this controlled tie. That's a lot of stuff that you guys have gotten in your arsenal. Make sure you understand the hows and the whys of the position on why some of these things work, because what your opponent does and your opponent's reactions can really dictate how these moves manifest, how they show up. Because my opponent taking head position, me taking head position, establishing foot position and shoulder position, those types of things are going to be really important for what opens up. And so just kind of also playing back through your head this idea of reverse scrambling. What doors and windows am I opening up so that if my opponent goes to attack me, I've got to understand where those attacks can come from and what are my options to reattack. All right. You normally should have 2 or 3 simple redirections off of your techniques that take you back to the things that you do well. So to the guys on Zoom, thank you. All right. I see your thanks. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. Facebook. All right. Thank you very much as well. I hope you guys appreciated this. Looking forward to next week with Jason Knopf and Joey McKenna. I've also got something really cool lined up for Wednesday next week. So stay tuned. And please, once again, last thing, just remember, if you appreciated what you saw today, you appreciate my time like I appreciate yours, please PayPal, Venmo. Also, on top of that, just want to make sure you guys are signing up for the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm still waiting for a couple more of you to sign up before I load the rest of the videos from the month of April. So sign up, tell your friends to sign up, and then we can get all those videos uploaded, start getting the ones from this month uploaded. Thank you again, guys. Remember, make the next best decision, score the next point, and you can and you will. Have a great day. All right.